Thank you for joining us here at the Smite Minor League. We're in the playoff stages. Only one team from each region is going to be able to make it to the actual bigger placement stages here in a moment. So only one team from EU today is going to be able to make it, right?
It's going to be a lot of fun. 3 teams made it here. They've got best of 3 round robins. So there are plenty of opportunities to prove that they are the best team in Europe at this moment, but they have to earn it. It could be a short day, could be 2 games, could be 3 games. Then we could have to do it all multiple different times if it's a 3-way tie. So who knows how long we'll be here today.
We have no idea. That's a great point. And, I couldn't be more excited for it because I think these SML teams have really earned this. They played through that tough fall split. There was the change where it's the best of ones. You had to make sure that you're there for each and every game. But this gave them a little bit of wiggle room just in case something crazy happened. Now is when you really prove it, though. It's Optimus Gang, it's Insignum, it's the Papis. Optimus Gang are going to be playing without Johnny, so that is a big deal. We'll get into all of that later on. But again, the reason why this is also important is everyone's trying to make their way to DreamHack. HRX going to be happening November 16th through the 18th. Going to want to make sure that you are there. You don't have to have nearly as tough a path. Go to hi-rezexpo.com. Pick up those tickets right now. I will hear very few good reasons why you're not going.
Well, maybe it is a tough path. Maybe your internet is out or your power's out, and now you need to try and go to the local library to use their computers to go to hi-rezexpo.com. But you go to the local library and you don't have your library card. And now you can't get in. Like that could be a difficult path. I don't think it's fair to assume that the viewers would have an easy path.
Is this a personal attack because I just moved and I don't have internet in my new apartment yet?
That actually isn't. Your life is horrible. I'm so sorry to hear this. No, I had no idea.
They were trying to grow up and play some Smite last night, and I was like, I can't, guys.
Oh no, that's unfortunate for you.
It's difficult. But let's go ahead and move in or take a look at the actual schedule again. Potentially, this is all we'll see. But as we sort of alluded to, if there's some 3-way ties, things can get a whole lot worse. So we'll certainly adjust that if it comes. But it's Papis up against Optimus Gang first, Optimus Gang up against Insignum. We might not even need to see Insignum the Papis on the flip side, right? If Optimus Gang just win both their games. So we'll certainly end up seeing a lot is up in the air in this set.
And the Papis, I mean, as much as Optimus Gang, I think, has been trending downwards without Johnny, the Papis have been trending up towards the second half of this fall split. They've looked a lot better. Warchi seems much more comfortable in the mid lane than he had previously. It's kind of a 3 different tales here between these 3 teams.
It really
Insignum,
is.
The very consistent favorites, but they weren't quite favorites because Optimus Gang had kind of usurped them in that region in my mind. But they're able to stay steady and look very, very strong all split long. Optimus Gang obviously has the big rise very, very quickly, really off the back of Johnny. Without Johnny, now all of our expectations taking a real nosedive for this team.
Sure.
And then the Papis kind of coming out of nowhere, kind of the opposite of Optimus Gang right now, where they start kind of off the radar, but end up really catapulting themselves in this top 3 and looking very, very good towards the end of the fall split. I think the Papis could give even Insignum some real problems here today.
I think they absolutely could. And this Papis team, like you said, has made some good adjustments. I think Warchi in the mid lane too, but I'm glad we started with Czechia because he's the one I wanted to talk about as well from the Hunter role, because it's a lot harder, I would say, nowadays for Hunters to run the game, especially super early. But I think Czechio's done a good job of it. Plays gods like this Turnabog, able to make some early rotations. They'll bring the fighting to him as well. They'll gank over there in the duo lane to try and play around him. This Papis team really does have a lot of tools, I think, that can help them win in this set. It won't be easy, but there's a chance they could take down Optimus Gang here.
Julio as well out of the solo lane has played very well as of late. The whole team for the Papis has, and you don't get the top 3 by having one good player or 2 good players. You really do have to have a whole team effort going your way. This was the game that guaranteed the Papis, I do believe, where it's up against Optimus Gang, and they really take it to him. It took him a little bit, but a quadra kill for Warchi, a quadra kill for Czechio in that game, and the Papis looked great. WorstTurttle has been playing pretty well on these aggressive junglers like this Circuit.
Yes.
So I think the Papis do have a lot of noise that they can make here today.
And it's good that we got to see them up against Optimus Gang, right? Because that really just kind of set the stage for this, where they just got through beating them a little while ago. That wasn't the best of 1. This is the best of 3 format. You have to make adjustments. You have to be able to do multiple picks and bans. Little metas can develop throughout them as well. So you got to make sure you're able to adjust that. That's the pressure that's on the Papis. But now I have to ask you, what kind of Optimus Gang team are we expecting to see here, right? I believe it's GetFisher for them in the jungle, right? Since they do not have Johnny. And I think GetFisher has looked fine at times, and there are also been some times where I think you can kind of see he's still not 100% with this team yet. So they've got to make those adjustments very quickly.
I think you're looking at this guy on your screen to step up now for Optimus Gang in FaraKrik, especially up against the Papis, where Warchi has still been the main catalyst for their success, I'd say, in most of their games.
Sure.
I think the mid lane matchup is going to be critical here for Optimus Gang. FaraKrik has looked great all split long, not just because of Johnny. I think that even independent of Johnny, who's spent a lot of time camping solo and killing Guardians on Ao Kuang, FaraKrik has looked very, very good in his own right. GetFisher and how well he can synergize the fights that Optimus Gang is going to be taking, I think, is going to be difficult for them to figure out the right fights to be taking and if they can be aggressive at the right times. If they can figure those out, I just don't know how much responsibility Johnny had during shot calling and during picks and bans, and it's difficult for us to say that without being intimately familiar with the team. But this is a team that has to try and refine their way. When you spend all split long and all year long, really, working off one game plan, and then a big contributor to that game plan is now no longer here with just weeks to go before it's time for your biggest games of the season, it's difficult to adjust, even if you're replacing someone that isn't your star player.
And I think it's going to affect Sibi as well, and I want to see what kind of adjustments he makes, right? I think your mid-solo are the ones who are most likely to be affected when you have to make those adjustments at the jungle position. So how well can he continue to sort of his dominance over there in the solo lane if he doesn't have as much help? Or is he going to get that same help? It's all about to be laid bare here in just a moment. Picks and bans for game number 1. Optimus Gang up against the Papis. Remember, you want to grab this win right away, especially if you're Optimus Gang, a chance to potentially close this out in just 2 sets.
Exactly. I mean, if a team gets 2 wins in the first portion, the first 3 games, then they're in, and they're coming to land for those placement rounds. If we get to the point where it's a 3-way tie, then 2 wins wouldn't do it. You would need 3 wins and so on and so forth. But you're basically looking to get 2 wins right off the bat here. Optimus Gang, if they get off this win right here, they're looking really good.
Certainly see how things get started. I like the idea of banning away this Mercury. We saw it even in those clips, right? GetFisher has been able to make some big plays on this Mercury, so take that one away from him. He's also just very strong in general right now, so ban him even if it's not GetFisher over there on the other side. So I like the way Papis have come out of the gate.
And I like this Circuit ban against WorstTurttle as well, something that he's looked very, very good on. And then take away the Chernobog from Chekio. This is Optimus Gang got beat by Circuit, Chernobog, and Freya in their last matchup up against the Papis. They leave Freya open, which tells me that FaraKrik must have something planned in that mid lane.
Yeah, must have a plan to try and slow it down. We'll see as Kuzenbo and Jingwei come out right away.
They don't take Freya.
I'm very surprised. There's a lot of priority picks still open, if I'm being honest. And Kuzenbo, Jingwei, certainly not weak picks by any means, but I wouldn't say these are first pick type of gods. But I mean, then Bakasura comes through, so Optimus Gang also flexing a little bit outside of what we standardly see.
No Freya, no Baron right there. So maybe they'll pick one up right here before the second ban phase, but it's going to be Odin instead, and it's not like Odin's great against Kuzenbo or Jingwei. I mean, he's good against Kuzenbo, sure. Kuzenbo can't get out of the cage. Jingwei, one of the safer hunters against Odin because Airstrike is so good at getting you out of that situation, and you rarely use it offensively. Then I'm surprised by this Odin pick here by Optimus Gang.
Ao Kuang going to come through for Papis. I like this idea. It's not just Johnny who was good on this. I think, if anything, he kind of showed everyone else the kind of hyper carry potential Ao Kuang can have.
Yes.
So no real surprise to see the Papis wanting to prioritize this one, especially with Circuit and Mercury already getting banned away. Again, as we noted, if he does play the Admiral Ao Kuang skin, which you must. It's I think currently
legally
the best one. Yes.
Right.
Then the boat SS Quanger we all know.
That's the boat. Yep, that's the one. He turns into a boat, which is unnamed, at least to our knowledge.
No, it's called the SS Quanger.
A lot of mid lane bans there between the Baron, the Agni, the Soul, and the Freya. And this is basically Warchi's God Pool banned away now in the mid lane. So he's going to go to the Discordia, which is a beautiful pick here. I mean, this is flawless up against the Odin. It gets you out of that Odin cage very well. It's good against Odin in general. It's good against Bakasura. I think this Discordia pick is perfect. And I don't know, either Optimus Gang is going, oh crap, he got Discordia, and now we don't know what to do. Or they're saying, perfect, he picked a god that he isn't as comfortable with. So we'll just have to wait and see how Warchi does on it.
I mean, they already banned away so many safe gods, right? It was like, to get one like Discordia that could still get out so well is pretty nice for the Papis. But Zeus Kumakarna, when you already have the Odin, this is a ton of control that you have to try and get away from between the cage and the Kumakarna. And you can't only worry about Zeus. Bakasura can very quickly shred you if you give him room, so could Chernobog. This is perfect where they spread out their damage dealers and have a ton of control as the core.
I do like Optimus Gang's draft quite a bit, and this last pick tier is going to be for Julio in that solo lane.
And they needed it, yeah.
It's risky, though. I mean, against Bakasura, where all of your damages tier comes from Fearless, you get crippled out, and all of a sudden you're not doing as well. But also keep in mind, tier on that blue stance Fearless now has a disarm, which is great against Bakasura during those ganks, if he can get it off before regurgitating that CC immunity and the cripple field. I think both teams did pretty well. This whole draft for me hinges around how well Warchi plays Discordia. If he can play Discordia at the same level he plays the Agni and the Freya, then Papis win this game easily in my mind. But if this is a pick that he's not as comfortable with, and isn't able to do quite as much with, then I like Optimus Gang here.
A little bit surprised maybe they went to that tier. Like you said, a lot of other good warriors still available, so the Papis definitely trusting this in their first match. Again, it's best of 3s, so whoever comes out with this will not have all their work done just yet. Optimus Gang up against the Papis. Game 1. Let's get it over to the casters.
Thanks a lot, boys. Tom and Toli here to bring you the business, and I'm very excited about this one. Multitude of reasons. 1, Julio's on his signature tier over there in the solo lane, and 2, we got a 4-man speed bump invade, and Fusify gonna look at the absolute WorstTurttle and OGG. Bang, bang. Optimus Gang starts it off hot with the first blood.
No beads, no life out of WorstTurttle. Good first blood now. Getting credited also to Kespainify, one of these late game hunters of Chernobog that you really want to get off to a great start.
Also, it's an Ao Kuang on the jungle, and that's the classic, why don't you play mages in the jungle? Because they're easy to shut down. Season 5 has made that a little bit more difficult. But if you group up as 5 and make Odin jump on somebody, well, you're going to be able to
not again.
Shut them down. OGG with their substitute jungler. GetFisher gets a kill here, 2 for 0. Optimus Gang looking hot.
This is almost looking like that old school jump party video where everyone jumped over the red buff. 5 members. It was like Odin, Bacchus, Bacchusura on her, and someone else I forget. Just all grouping up, invading. And this strategy works because the base damage of the jumps at level 1 for an Odin is incredibly high.
Oh man, that was the new Bugatti song.
Oh yeah, I woke up.
That was funny. I was actually I've brought this up once or twice. My first piece of Smite content was fswag.wordpress.com, and I wrote about the Bumba's mask when it first came out, and then I stopped writing in it, and then I said, hey, I know it's usually analysis content, but I have to post this, and it was the jump party video.
It was a great video, and this is a great start for Optimus Gang, utilizing that base damage to their advantage. A kill goes to Kespainify to start it off. GetFisher with some good momentum, getting himself a kill, and already heavily ahead in the Assassin's Blessing stats.
Oh my goodness, that's not where you gotta be, Warchi. Pushed all the way up. That's the second death for our mid laner in only 2 minutes.
And the thing is, a lot of these gods and goddesses have to make this internal struggle at level 2. It's like, do I get my second damaging ability, or do I go for my natural safe escape? And as a Discordia, you want to get the Strife and the Unruly Magic to clear the wave.
Dracomarino does get the kill in the duo lane. He's always been the standout player on the Papis to me. I've always really liked Dracomarino. Playing aggressive here. Draco has traditionally been a true support player, if you will. I like him on the Gebs and the Kepris and stuff like that, but Draco here playing a very different style on the Kuzenbo. And getting the first kill for his team, the Papis, that's a nice look.
The problem is, as an Odin, whenever you're looking to clear the wave, you gotta invest into your jump, and when there's a Kuzenbo waiting for you on the ground, you're about to get sumo slammed through the whole entire wave, and if you time it properly, you can even negate the damage of that jump, and that's probably what ended up happening.
Now this might be a little bit much. The Papis looking for the purple buff invade after the fact, and level 5 jungler shows up and gives the hunter an assist. Kespainify kill number 2 for the Chernobog. Fusify gonna find Chekio down to half and then slow him down. Teammates a little bit far away. Fisher not gonna be able to reach, so that's gonna be a nice disengage. Oh, Chekio coming back.
Thinking about it for a second there.
Fisher wasn't paying attention.
Left side mid Harpies being contested over Fusify with not too much mana under his belt. One of those Harpies going to go to WorstTurttle. Second one also going to go to the red side.
Fusify unable to really find that. Fisher just around the corner, more focused on the oracles. Wants to make sure the Papis don't get a surprise ejective. Draco going to push Fusify one more time. He did fall earlier, and now with the Zeus ultimate, that's enough to send Draco in the other direction. Nice defensive ult from FaraKrik there.
No real kill potential from that Zeus ultimate, but that's what you got to do. Save the save the life. Julio though.
Bang!
Wow, no life there. Apple down the mid lane. Fusify not hungry for that one. I like the attempt from Julio, but fighting more than he can chew. He had to blink up in like about 10 seconds. Not able to really utilize that surprise factor, unfortunately.
You know, Tully, Optimus Gang has had a lot of their success off of Johnny. and I was very vocal about Johnny not being here. I think it's a really big detriment to the team, and while I think it still will affect the squad, FaraKrik, Fusify, Kespainify have been able to stand on their own 2 feet very, very much so. It's early on, but they have the right gameplay and the right approach to the game.
And that's the difference that you mentioned. It's still early on, and that's the difference between a lot of these pickup teams where you're playing with a substitute versus an actual cohesive unit that's been playing together for the whole entire year. Those weaknesses of GetFisher not having too much chemistry with Optimus Gang might show those holes in the later stages of team fights. But for now, if they keep having this kind of momentum, Optimus Gang could easily confirm a lot of objectives and really start snowballing.
Yeah, for me, it was the team play that we've already seen that's kind of shown that OG is going to look to continue what they've done, right? The grouping of 4 in the early stages. This is just GetFisher having a good pick and taking advantage of it. Here he gets another kill. Now he's trying to deal with Julio, half HP on the jungler, all by himself. Fusify a little bit far away. Dracomarino will punish. That said, the fight continues. FaraKrik takes one. Julio could be next, but the Zeus juice is relatively low. Sibi sends him to the sky. The Frisbee comes out. Double kill for the mid lane Zeus.
Oh, and avoids the sumo slam. What a performance already. Getting themselves a 1 for 3. GetFisher sacrificed his life for WorstTurttle, which was not in his favor at all. A level 7 Bakasura for a level 5 Ao Kuang, but catching out Dracomarino and Julio after the fact. All positive for Optimus Gang.
And that's the teamwork that I'm talking about, right? The substitute comes in and makes kind of an arguably shaky call, right? Looking for the invade. But Optimus Gang, 1, identify that they have to win something additional off of it, and 2, have the tools. Sibi makes the first rotation that he's made and just assists FaraKrik. Great jump by Fusify. That was just a really, really solid team play from Optimus Gang.
And this is just benefiting FaraKrik even further now. 1,000 gold lead in the net worth against Warchi, able to have a full boost over the Discordia is where we're starting to see some of the damage differentials.
This Optimus Gang team's the real deal. It really is. And, Johnny in the past has had trouble coming to LAN, and so theoretically he's only missing these games, and he'll be... I really hope Johnny's able to rejoin the squad.
I agree.
I think this team was so much fun to watch.
Johnny loves the Ao Kuang, and I think woke up a lot of the Smite minor league players of just how good Ao Kuang really is, which is why WorstTurttle is playing it. I'm not sure how favorable GetFisher prefers this god as FaraKrik trying to peel for himself.
Nice push back from Optimus Gang. Papis trying to make their first offensive play of the contest, and Optimus Gang just successfully defend their position. GetFisher jumping away from the mid-harpies, a little bit different for him. But Julio going to be in trouble. Nice apple, going to hit Sibi, but that's it. This is the Papis moment. Fusify gets gobbled up by WorstTurttle. Nice reaction. Is that a boat?
Yeah, he's rocking the SS Quanger, as Finch likes to call it. That's the boat skin, as Sibi is able to actually take out Julio as well. Unfortunate 1-for-1 trade, but getting a stack on WorstTurtle is going to set him up pretty well in that mid to late game. Getting yourself some extra magical power, lifesteal is how you get this late game Ao Kuang truly online. And you were talking about how Optimus Gang are the real deal, and they certainly are when they have this kind of an early lead. I think Papis were caught slipping, to be fair. They were definitely unprepared and not expecting that kind of invade, but game is still young.
Ao Kuang is caught up at this point. Still in some trouble as he's brought down to 10%. Previously behind about 2 levels though, but able to catch up to GetFisher's Bakasura. Now both junglers 8. Mid lane differential though. FaraKrik 2 levels above Warchi. Warchi 0-3. Very problematic start to this one.
And the power spikes are really going to start to show soon. GetFisher finishing off that Hasten Katana. Boots have already been completed for FaraKrik, whereas Warchi just barely managed to get his tier 2 online. And I like some of the relic selections between both of these teams. Fusify opting for Horrific Emblem, which is what allowed to secure that first blood onto WorstTurtle, whereas Dracomarino wanting to prevent any sort of cage shenanigans on his teammates. Only Warchi and Julio can really get out of that one.
You were talking about power spikes as well. Kumba with the breastplate of valor. Not exactly a one-on-one power spike, but a fantastic team fight power spike. The rotations coming out from the solo Kumba Karna are going to be that much more impressive because of the availability of the high crowd control. Solo Kumba's a pick that I really like totally. I think he has the wave clear to do it. Why don't we see as much solo Kumba as I might want?
Well, it used to be very popular in Season 2 and 3 when Purple Potion was purchasable at level 1. That extra power allowed him to be even more obnoxious. But I think the fact that he's a little bit of a gimmick in the sense that you would rather have that kind of crowd control into the support role, helping out your mid laner, not to be a lane bully in the solo lane. You want more like utility style. But when you're going to have a god such as Odin to already bring offensive capabilities in the early portion of the game, then you can allow yourself the Kumba Karna to have the defensive measures later on.
Yeah, it's all about the balance of the composition, right? Fusify, little crowd control on his side, and then that's why we have a heavy CC character on the short lane. I really like how Optimus Gang in general kind of impresses me with their drafts. I think they balance the equation really, really, really well, and that allows them to be so competitive at this level and beyond. 11 minutes in, 10-3, and Optimus Gang leading the Papis by about 3,000 gold. Looking good today.
They have a good gold lead, but not too much experience, where only really Sibi has that experience lead. Fusify using that ultimate defensively, but he's still caught between a rock and a hard place, but Papis not interested in chasing that one out.
Sibi now taking the 2-on-1 as he looks for the proxy, and this is going to be trouble. He does wind up wiggling away, but WorstTurttle can catch up. The execute does find him.
Oh, there goes the Kumba Karna passive as well. So I'm not sure how that interaction actually works if you get a stack from the Kumba Karna passive, since you don't technically get a kill.
You do get the stack as you go up to the sky, but it's going to be trouble for him because the enemy team picked up the Gold Fury.
Uh-oh. That's sneaky. Optimus Gang trying to survive in the dual lane. Fusify!
So close.
Goes up in the sky.
FaraKrik, well, he's going to watch the Papis solo leader wave at him. WorstTurttle shows up with the burst damage, and the kill goes the way of the Papis.
Optimus Gang getting themselves that Gold Fury 30 seconds ago while there was a little bit of action in that solo lane. This is going to get scarier because WorstTurttle getting himself that second stack now, trying to make his appearance relevance now. Good peeling onto GetFisher, but that was a perfectly timed beat, knowing he was going to get Fearless.
Nice play there by Fisher. Really, really intelligent to just look for the easy kill and get the hell out. I think a lot of other players, maybe earlier Fisher himself, might have looked for the follow-up secondary kill. The player was down at about half HP, but Fisher didn't have the ultimate, and so Bakasura plays it safe. Just takes one kill. That'll open up the world for the Pyromancer, and Optimus Gang will get the secondary objective very, very easily, continuing their lead so far. With that in mind, though, they do lose the Tier 1 tower. Obviously, 500 gold is 500 gold, but how about the map pressure?
It could be problematic because you're always going to have somebody stay there, right? But it's not too bad for Optimus Gang, considering they have Chernobog. He can easily stay in that left side of the lane forever and then use Living Nightmare to get into the team fights. Similar to how we always used to see Apollo in the previous season. It's just Apollo 2.0 almost, you can say.
WorstTurtle gets the left heart piece, and the Papis are going to collapse on Fusify. Nice little ring there to protect himself.
I like the fact that Draco holds on to the Phantom as well, not wanting to chase that one down.
Missed opportunity. Sibi does take down Warchi. He is a very low mid laner. Zeus shows up, though. There's going to be at least one kill. Fusify is able to take care of Dracomarino. Sibi on the run, blinks forward, finds the root, the belly to boot. 14 for Optimus Gang. The Papis with half of that at 7.
GetFisher yet again in 2 different situations sacrifices himself for 3 players. This time it's going to be Dracomarino instead of WorstTurtle that time, though. FaraKrik wanting to get in the thick of things alongside WorstTurtle, not able to have that triple detonate stack.
4-1 and 4, man. FaraKrik has had a fantastic game this game so far. Almost 2,000 player damage above number 2, and that's the solo lane. FaraKrik on the Zeus. I've always liked FaraKrik on the Zeus. FaraKrik has been a player that I've really enjoyed watching, actually. Optimus Gang has been a lot of fun for me to watch in the minor league.
The evolution from them has definitely been evident between their devolution from the SPL to now how they've been climbing through the minor league. And sometimes you got to take a step backwards to take about 2 or 3 steps forward. And this could be the case if Optimus Gang were able to win here today and find themselves at the placements with or without Johnny. That would be a remarkable sight to see.
Bakasura here building into the Atalanta's bow. Not an item that we see all that often, but really a strong pick for, I think, basic attack assassins.
And normally it's for a lot of these hunters that want to be able to get it because you can't go hasten katana on a hunter.
Right.
So therefore you don't really need Atalanta's bow for the movement speed if you're going to have hasten katana anyway, but the attack speed is what really matters as well because you're not always going to be able to have the Bakasura passive stacks going between the extra movement speed and the attack speed after killing a couple of minions or gods. So this is just covering your options.
Now you've got an item to talk about because Bakasura, of course, is a character that scales very well with attack speed, similar to old Freya. Butcher Blades give you true damage, so scaling, not really part of the conversation. It's true damage for a set amount of time, so the more basic attacks you get in that time period, the more damage you're doing. That's why we see the full all-out stack of attack speed usually.
Yeah, and if you're able to get that max cap speed at 2.5 and Butcher Blades last about 4 or 5 seconds, you're getting off about 10 to 12.5 attacks of 70 extra damage of that true damage. That's just extra damage, not to mention how much base damage you're doing.
And then, of course, there's the ultimate where you're cleaving. Yeah, it gets real scary out there. Checkio, the ultimate forced out just by Sibi kind of walking up and showing his face. And Gold Fury right on time.
Exactly.
Optimus Gang with a beautiful timing.
That's why they wanted to do this play right here, trying to zone out Checkio a little bit. Fusify's damage still going through there. Checkio needs to retreat. Sibi going to be a little bit off the mark with that ultimate, but the chase down is occurring. GetFisher with the first kill.
WorstTurttle does fall down. One for none, excuse me. Sibi relatively low. The Papis are local, so Optimus Gang does not want to start the Gold Fury just yet.
Oh, Ultimate's being invested there. Only WorstTurtles is back and available, but he's still in the grave. 20 seconds until he comes back up, but Optimus Gang not too healthy to start up this Gold Fury, so I don't know if the Papis even want to contest it, seeing how Julio's already transported himself in that solo lane. And keep in mind, he has Shell and Blink, no teleport to make this rotation.
Yeah, plus the damage out of the objectives is so high. That's one of the big Bakasura boons that he brings to your team is the fact that he's able to shoot through towers and objectives very, very easily. Gold Fury goes down in a matter of moments. And Bakasura, 4, 2, and 5 for GetFisher. Certainly contributes well to the objective.
It's getting a little dicey for Papis after the second Gold Fury, extending the lead as Optimus Gang beyond that 6,000 gold marker. Experience, though, is still relatively closer to that fact, and that's where things could still allow Papis to fight into that little bit of a deficit.
Julio gets himself trapped up. Sibi gonna knock him to the sky, but here comes WorstTurttle. Nice knock up though. WorstTurtle still able to take care of one jungler. 4 players for the Papis here on the right-hand side. FaraKrik though makes it rain and drops WorstTurtle. And that'll be safety for his teammates.
A 1-for-1 jungle for jungle. Not able to find any additional kills until Julio goes in the back line. No peels for FaraKrik, just too far overextended.
Oof, that's what I say about that one. Like you said it perfectly, totally. Just a little bit too far out of where he should have been. So Optimus Gang wind up again on the good side. Almost 6,000 in the lead.
Pyromancer, though, Papis able to respond in kind after that 2-for-1, only losing WorstTurtle, getting FaraKrik and GetFisher. Getting that 500 gold is keeping them still relatively in check here. 19 minutes into the game. Papis, you just can't count them out.
Right side tier 1s have already gone. Our solo laner is doing a good job of battling it out. Both solo laners kind of making rotations early and often I like that playstyle, totally.
And the fact that Julio was able to do it without the teleport shows that he's thinking about these well in advance. We're seeing how Gold Furies were being pulled by Optimus Gang about 2 minutes ago, so Julio having to make that necessary rotation. I want to see a little bit more out of him, though, with the Blink. So far, it's been a lot of aggression from Optimus Gang's Fusify and Sibi, and Papis have been playing a little bit on the defensive front, but Julio has that surprise factor, and if he can pull off just one good Blink to force out multiple beads or catching people without the beads, that's the win condition out of the Papis.
I mean, Julio's tier has always been a reason for the Papis to kind of win games. He's always been a relevant win condition for these guys. Julio, back when he was Julio 69, came out with the tier and really just surprised everybody that was uninformed about what this guy could bring. And boy, did he bring it. Strong stuff out of Julio, and, well, not so strong as his internet at the moment. He's going to take a brief DC, but we'll be back to the action in a moment once he gets things started.
And we were talking about how Julio can force those beats for WorstTurttle to capitalize with those executes. It's important for those to synergize very well together, knowing how important it is for WorstTurttle to start carrying in this late game. That's why you invest a pick into the Yao Kuang. It's not for the early game, because we saw what happened in that early game. Getting invaded on was a little bit tricky. It was a slow start for Papis as a result. A lot of momentum for Optimus Gang, getting themselves 2 Gold Furies currently, but question remains is, can they start grouping up as 5 and start demolishing these towers? Because thus far, only plucking away the tier 1 in the soul lane.
For now. We'll see how everything winds up. We're only 20 minutes and 20 and a half in, actually. And so Optimus Gang certainly have had control of the early game, and that translates to the mid game as well. Like you said, Tully, we're all looking to see if WorstTurttle is going to be the guy that's going to turn things around here in the late game. GetFisher has to use the beads as the Papis are looking for an invade here, just playing aggressively. Here comes the cavalry, though. Optimus Gang turns it around.
FaraKrik, out of nowhere, just dies to Warchi in the mid lane. Sibi wasn't really able to help keep his mid laner alive. And with a 5-on-4, Papis are going to just reset currently. A lot of ultimates being used on Optimus Gang, 4 to be exact, while there's still only 4 available from Papis.
That might have been a gift for the Papis right there. I think Optimus Gang really screwed the pooch on that engagement. Here comes Julio, though, over the top. Sibi, fearless power cleave, fearless power cleave. He's going to go into the ground. Last hit for Chekio. WorstTurttle chasing the enemy off the tower, and the tier 2 crumbles. The Papis fight back.
Just like that. One little lapse of judgment. I'm pretty sure FaraKrik didn't have his relics, and that's why he kind of got caught out there, as it's still available after the respawn. And with that tier 2 tower, Papis, they're not slowing down. Going for a 22-minute fire giant.
Half HP already. You can see Bakasura creeping along with Odin. They've got to get up here. Chernobog has the ultimate as well. They can stop this, Toli. Kespainify, Fusify's here. Oh, he's getting crowd controlled. Ring goes down. The Papis take the objective. And now Odin's got to find his way out. But Kespainify going to find his way in and take down WorstTurttle.
WorstTurttle busy zoning for so long that he's going to get taken out. But for the greater good, in my opinion, seeing how Papis were able to strike first at this late game objective.
Is your jungle out Quamp the player you want to be zoning and losing their fire giant?
I would say, well, there needs to be 2 players zoning, right? So inside the pit, Julio was going to zone out Fusify to make sure that the jump wasn't going to occur. And then in the later ring, the outer ring, WorstTurttle was zoning. So, yeah, one way or the other, someone needs to have one responsibility inside the cage and the one outside of it. So I don't mind WorstTurttle giving up his life for this process, knowing how Optimus Gang can do some damage if they were the ones to secure the fire giants.
Well, the Papis certainly have fought their way back into this. Previously down by about 6,000. Now they're only down by about 2,500, not 1,000. And they've got the fire giant. So 1,500 on the left, 1,500 on the right. Talking, of course, about the bounty for the tier 2 towers. This could certainly lead to a Papis lead change.
That's right.
They've only got a couple of minutes, though, Toli.
Well, we'll see what they could do with it. They're feeling confident enough to go for this tier 2 on the left-hand side, while WorstTurttle is splitting the difference in the mid lane. So if Optimus Gang realized this. They should go in now.
That's what Sibi's going to do, right on top of Chekio. Fisher on the back line. Aegis is good for the moment, but as soon as it ends, the Watery Grave comes out. Great teamwork by Dracomarino to keep the player off of his carry. Now Fish shifting focus to the left-hand lane. Beautiful ring sets up Fisher for Warchi, but here comes Draco again. Where's the FaraKrik damage? He's a little bit too far behind to really get involved.
WorstTurttle hasn't been doing too much in this team fight, just kind of waiting for his opportunity to look for that flank. A 1-for-1 at the end of the day delays the Fire Giant siege potential from Papis. I'm surprised they even were that far overextended, seeing how WorstTurttle just revived in the mid lane, was shoving it out. There needed to be more patience from the Chaos squad.
Yeah, the Papis kind of made the mistake there, I would say for sure. Tier 1 tower in dual lane does fall. And now Optimus Gang, yeah, this will be a chase. But if WorstTurtle doesn't burst somebody down, I think he dies.
He could easily like blink in, use the water illusion, get the damage off onto Fusify. No CC immunity out of this Odin player, and he's less than 50% health.
He does have the shield, and he'll be able to walk away.
Are they going to do it? They're thinking about it. They're going to cancel the backs, and if Julio tanks this tower, Chekio has the DPS certainly to at least secure this tower. Good play. I like it.
Versus the world, knocking a player up. Doesn't want to get involved in the basic attacks, but here comes the rest of the team. And that's what Akuma Karna does. He wastes your time till the squad shows up. Fisher on the back line. WorstTurtle lifts him up, but he's going to jump forward. And on the run, the blink is good. Now Julio's going to be the target of Desire. And Optimus Gang just have to fall back.
An all-out escape. The chase was avoided with the Living Nightmare slowing certain members. A perfect shell placed out of Julio. Keeps his jungler alive for a little bit longer. Also, WorstTurtle using his execute just as a defensive measure, knocking up GetFisher, getting him away from the action because the regurgitate lasts about a second, the ultimate rather. It lasts about a full second of CC immunity. So you just time that out a little bit and then avoid all the Butcher Blade damage to follow suit. Papis weren't able to really get much from this Fire Giant buff. It's about to fizzle away in less than 15 seconds, but they still delay the game long enough to get into this late game where WorstTurtle can start making the impact.
Absolutely. The Papis have still tied the contest. This was Optimus Gang to run away with, and the Papis have tied the game. They've done exactly what they need to do. Now they have to find that secondary step. Unfortunately, it's Fusify that's leading with his front foot. Ring for Phantom. That won't be up next time, but the ring will.
That's very true. It's a much bigger difference of a cooldown. Both teams taking a lot of damage. FaraKrik dishing it out on one end, whereas WorstTurtle and Warchi making it happen on the other side. So these groupings are very scattered, I'd say, from both teams, looking for the right angles to get into. I think it's about, if anyone's out of position, then that's where a team is going to capitalize. Last time from Optimus Gang, it was FaraKrik that was out of position. Out of the Papis, it was a little bit of Warchi.
Yeah, Warchi and Chekio have been kind of walking around. Chekio does find his way out because of how agile, no pun intended, his pick is, but the Papis now aware that Fire Giant's going to spawn soon. I love the patience for Fusify. His ring's going to come up soon. Here comes Dracomarino. He's in trouble. Detonate not good enough, but the basic from Kespainify will be. Sibi's going to back, but he does have teleport to come right back into the fight. So that'll be a nice look. Optimus Gang, 5-on-4.
For about 40 seconds. Surprised WorstTurtle didn't want to go into the thick of things quite yet, but now grouping up Optimus Gang, going to feel frisky. Don't have the same kind of a lead that they did before, but still, a power play is a power play. Without the Kuzenbo support, they're going to force this one.
There's the ring. They did trap Julio, who had ultimate available. Not my favorite play the team has made so far. Sibi moves forward. Gonna look for the root on top of WorstTurtle. Jumping forward is the Odin. Knocked to the sky. Put in the ground. Kespainify finds another kill. 20 in total for Optimus Gang.
How is Chekio still alive? Avoids the detonate. Lethal damage. Sibi's going to find the root and lethal damage that time around. I think Chekio was out if he just kept running instead of trying to 180 his way into safety. Sibi still looking for aggression because GetFisher is going to follow up.
Solo Koopa Karna doing work. And again, man, the Watery Grave. Dracomarino's performance I can't watch the Papis and not be impressed with Dracomarino.
I agree.
He's so damn good, Totally.
And he used to play a lot of Kuzenbo, actually, back in the day, trying to be that defensive peeler. No matter how offensive the god he's playing, he's going to still have that defensive mindset. And finally, Optimus Gang with a 5-on-3 advantage, going to start up the Fire Giant. But Dracomarino, is he going to be able to make the impact?
Well, Fusify's here. He's going to ring in the turtle. And Optimus can't get the objective.
I saw the Nene come out, and I was like, is this actually about to happen? But no, Detonate a little bit too strong.
You know, I love what you said there, especially since how I started the conversation off earlier. You know, I was kind of surprised at watching Draco play the Kuzenbo. He's known for that defensive play, and that's what we've seen. We've seen the Watery Grave use his peel, the Sumo Slam use his peel, and he's playing this offensive character very defensively. It's really a testament to his playstyle.
And he's in the moment of the game, thinking about his builds differently. Look at the Relic Dagger, because he knows the shell difference cooldown versus the Odin Cage cooldown, so he wants to get that Relic up a little bit more often, realizing that his team might need to play a little bit more defensive, so he goes for the Emperor's Armor, amplifying the attack speed of his towers and phoenixes.
Dracomarino is a guy that gets it. There's a lot about Smite, and there are successful Pro League players that don't get it. Capital G, capital I. You know what I mean? There's so many things about Draco gets it. He's a fundamental player. It's why I'm always so impressed with him, man. Dracomarino was a player that I really thought SK might grab him when they were having problems with Badger. They took Half Devil, an old friend of theirs. I'm unsure of how strong Draco's English is. The Papis historically an all-Spanish team. Not the case right now, I believe. But, you know, very, very interesting to see Draco kind of in this position. Right now, that's just, well, that's what Baka does.
Well, that's kind of what happens when Fusify is going to stop your back, and then you can't really get anything out of it. If Dracomarino really wanted to, if he felt threatened and in danger, he would have popped the Phantom and escaped on the north-hand side the same way we saw Chekio use the airstrike, but a little bit of different wave levels. When you're support and that tanky, you think, oh yeah, I'm tanky enough to be able to just walk away from this, but Chekio being, you know, squishy hunter is like, nah, you know what, I don't want any piece of this action.
Talking about itemization on the side of the Papis, you are right. I like the Relic Dagger and the Emperor's Armor a lot. What I don't like as a whole is lack of a Witchblade, lack of a Midgardian Mail, something to keep this Baka in check.
Ultimates being used to try to defend the right side. Phoenix, Papis fighting 4-on-5 for at least 10 more seconds. Dracomarino is coming up, but Optimus Gang having to retreat and wait for this next wave is going to allow for a 5-on-5 now.
The Papis with 5 players ready to go. Defensively, not the world's greatest composition, but not a poor one. Strife is a very strong ability.
Oh, yeah.
When playing defense.
I was going to make a comment about like that 10-minute mark Strife that caught 4 members from Optimus Gang, and it just kind of created inner turmoil where there was 2 separate 2v2s within the team.
Yeah, the Papis have a decent defensive siege here. Warchi going to be a big part of that. WorstTurttle just going to look to blow somebody up. But Optimus Gang, Zeus is just so effective when it comes to Phoenix time. Offense or defense. Chain Lightning, the way the disc works, and the ultimate, so much space control.
As long as Optimus Gang can avoid that wall where Warchi is going to hide behind, if it's the siege on the left side Phoenix, you got to hug the left side wall, because you know Warchi is going to be around that corner between the left side Phoenix and the mid Phoenix. And the same thing can be said but flipped on the right side, which is why Papis were successful in that last defense. They strifed out Kespainify, but they didn't catch a second member, so not applying the madness effect, but that was still good enough to get the unruly magic onto him, doing about 50% of his health pool, and that's enough to scare the hunter a little bit from wanting to aggress inside the Phoenix to get off the pot shots, because who knows who's going to be blinking in the backline between both Julio and WorstTurttle.
Grouping up his 5 here. Optimus Gang, 33, excuse me. And Optimus Gang had a commanding lead at the beginning of the game, really shut down WorstTurtle's Out Kwang jungle. And then after just continuing to feed GetFisher and FaraKrik, the Papis have a great resurgence. They're able to, in the middle of the game, about 20 minutes in, take down the Fire Giant after a fantastic team fight and essentially tie the game. Now, if we take a glance at the graphs, Optimus Gang since then has just catapulted back to the spot, even above their previous lead, now around that 9,000 gold mark. Fusify here, try and deal with Checkio, and he will. But so Optimus Gang, one more time, wrestle control the game. It's in their hands. Fire Giant is up. So this could be the moment that Optimus Gang look for, and it will be. They'll pick up this Fire Giant, totally no defense.
No.
Do you like that call?
I don't mind it, honestly. You die at the Fire Giant, you lose the game.
But there's no
out of Papis.
Phoenixes up. There's nothing, I don't know, the Papis can't take that fight?
The thing is, Optimus Gang are now forced to go into the Papis space, right? Like, this is an offensive versus defensive test from both of these teams, and I think Papis don't mind it, because despite having 6 items on both Julio and WorstTurttle, Warchi still needs their 6th item. Waiting a little bit longer for his power spike wouldn't be a bad idea, and I think they want to fight under their Phoenixes, using that as a 6th man, so to speak. And something interesting to point out is the 6th item from WorstTurttle is the Typhon's Fang, something we haven't seen since probably before even the spring split. I don't know how many players were actually picking up this item, but having this much lifesteal between Typhon's Fang and the Bancroft's Talon leads me to believe he wants to box players in the background, isolating them in a 1v1. And if GetFisher is going to be there with Butcher Blades, I think that WorstTurttle can win that 1v1.
He probably can. Rado Tahuti coming out as well, 150 power. Sometimes I don't care what that passive is. There's 150 power on the damn item. The passive's certainly a big deal, though, doing extra damage to those that are low. It's a certainly a nice item for somebody who wants to look for the executes, right?
Oh yeah, especially when you're dealing with some squishy members in the backline, as WorstTurttle does have the blink. We'll see how he elects to kind of play this one out. GetFisher gonna try to be in a 1v1, but this is what WorstTurttle wants.
At the same time, it's kind of what Baka wants as well. The 4-1 split, kind of drawn up for a Bakasura-like character.
Ooh, good chain lightning check here already at 20% health, and Sibi's gonna finish the job.
That's a death. Sibi finds the target and just isolates him. The assassin Kumba Karna. You hate to see it, you love to play it. Julio on the way out, 30% HP, can't hang. Dracomarino can't hang, and neither can the left side Phoenix. Down it goes. 36 minutes on the clock. Optimus Gang shifting to the mid lane Phoenix.
This is a good start to close out the game. Fusify going to get rooted. Warchi gets dated on. Julio is going to be able to find at least one member, but look at this. The execute onto Sibi yet again.
Still at 2 for 1 so far. Optimus Gang on the good side. Where'd the life bars go? Where'd the life bars go?
That's WorstTurtle's right up to Hootie passive, showing its effect. That water illusion a little too strong for a squishy Zeus player.
That said, FaraKrik gonna look for the damage onto Dracomarino. Won't be able to find it. WorstTurtle biding his time on the right side. Sibi gonna look for the ultimate one more time. Water illusion gets him out. The jump, big boy damage. The blink forward. Sibi finishes it off. 6-2-11 for the solo Kumba Karna. Who's sleeping now?
Optimus Gang not going for the end. A little questionable. It's only 2 members as Warchi's about to revive in 10 seconds, getting the very safe play of the right side. Phoenix now GetFisher going to look for some damage onto Dracomarino. Root onto Checkio. Going to force out the airstrike as Warchi respawns, having to deal with plenty of fire minutes trickling from the left-hand side.
Very curious that Optimus doesn't go for the win there.
Yeah.
I know the players talk about weakening the Titan a lot. 2 Burr, 1 Phoenix left. That's a go for it, man.
So when I was looking at it, I think Warchi had about 15 to 20 seconds as they were traveling to the right side Phoenix. And that's got to be like a gut feeling call that everybody is confident in without hesitation. And at the end of the day, Optimus Gang wanted to play super safe. If they're able to siege Phoenixes like that and find the picks anyway, the way FaraKrik spreads this damage, they'll just go for round 2, go for the Fire Giant yet again within a minute time.
I think that name you said right there, FaraKrik, I think if FaraKrik's alive, they just push. He's been the big point. Earlier today, we did Esports Weekly, and Finch had mentioned something that the game seems like there's more of a baton pass these days, right? where you have an early game guy and then a mid game and then a late game guy. Well, basically what you're looking at there is that FaraKrik is holding the ball in this late game, and he drops the rainstorm and he drops bodies. I think with him down, Optimus Gang could have done it, but that's their lead singer, and they didn't have the confidence to go in without him. Not my favorite play that they've made all game, but better safe than sorry.
He's like the lead guitarist that's playing the solo, and then Sibi's the bassist that comes in with the extra tune. That blink epic uppercut was a sight to see.
That's what he's doing this whole game. I really do like watching Sibi play. Shouts to him starting his new Scholastic career as well. We'll see if it works out for him as well as game number 1. WorstTurttle isolated in the back line, 2 tanks dealing with him. Papis with a nice defensive set so far.
No ultimates available now from Optimus Gang. WorstTurttle still has to execute. Chekio still has to airstrike. Probably going to be used defensively as opposed to any sort of offensive measures, especially with so many fire minions now that Fire Giant.
The Papis are interested in defense here.
I mean, they're just shoving the waves out. They know that Optimus Gang are going to be busy with the Fire Giant objective, but if they don't find something here, Papis is going to lose their left side Phoenix.
Yeah, this is Optimus Gang's time to just not do anything, or, you know, kill Julio if it's this simple. I don't know what you're doing, Julio, but it ain't the right thing. Sibi gonna find Chekio. Get the beads out. Fusify chases Dracomarino to the left side. Group up one more time. Low is Fusify. Gotta watch himself.
Oh my goodness, Chekio in a world of hurt. Had the airstrike available, couldn't even get that off in time. Warchi's gonna fall as well. Execute from WorstTurttle. It's a 1 for 3 thus far. WorstTurtle gets himself another kill. Dracomarino is getting everyone low.
Fisher and Sibi are low as well. Tripskis for the jungler. Totally, I thought that was gonna be game.
Oh, the minions
it is gonna be game
to win the game.
It is gonna be game. Sibi, the solo Kumbakarna, shows up and grows up.
Wow.
Optimus Gang and the minions take game 1.
We mentioned how they didn't defend the Fire Giant originally when they were having an 8,000 gold deficit, but now having all 3 Phoenixes down, they make that play a little questionable at the end.
Yeah, it's funny. The first time I said, you know, I don't like them not defending the Fire Giant, and here I'm like,
why though?
I don't like them defending the Fire Giant.
I thought they were just shoving the waves and then going to retreat to play defense, but instead, no, they were committed. No one was shoving that left side wave, which was a very important one, which got the Phoenix down, which got the Titan that low, which allowed Sibi to find the kill on the Titan. And I think that if that Phoenix was defended and they found those kills, the game would last for maybe another 15 minutes.
Yes. That is the correct analysis, totally. Yes. Most valuable player here. I think it looked like GetFisher in the early moments. It looked like FaraKrik as the game went on and on. I'm always going to be excited to watch Sibi play, and he was ultimately the one that hit the Titan.
Yeah, FaraKrik was good. Sibi was also even better, I think, to close it out.
That's it for game number 1. Let's bring it down to the desk.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Totally. An exciting end to game number 1 as Optimus Gang barely closed it out. Bless you. Yeah, man. I thought that was
tried so hard. I couldn't keep it in. So close.
I thought they were going to lose that one towards the end. They actually lost the fight.
They did.
Pretty handily on the back end of that. But Sibi on the Kumbakarna waddles his way in, man, and closes it out.
Look, that's the benefit you have whenever you are able to get all 3 Phoenixes down, like Optimus Gang had, is that you put pressure on the opposition to not just win a fight, but win it so handily that you can also back to base and defend. Great recognition and game awareness from Sibi to realize that, yeah, we're losing the fight, but who cares? I'll just walk up the lane and end the game.
And to be honest, maybe they shouldn't have been in their position. You heard the casters talking about it a little bit too. When they made that push to get the Phoenixes, they kind of pull over to the right to make sure they get the right side Phoenix, I believe, instead of going for a potential end there. Almost comes back to get them, but because of how far ahead they were, like you said, they were able to kind of cover up those gaps in the end. And the one with the bandage, the one kind of hammering in those boards and closing up that gap at the end was Sibi. He gets in there and ends the game on the Titan on the Kumbakarna.
Sibi did very, very well this game in controlling the opposition, even with this Bumba's Mask build, really focusing on his mobility and trying to catch up and just be that CC bot. He was able to do quite a bit of damage still in these late game team fights. FaraKrik was often poking out the opposition like we'd see right there. and then Sibi is going to close the gap and end up getting these last hits quite often.
Sibi was a big difference maker for him in this game, but really Optimus Gang played well as a unit, I would say. You talk about FaraKrik, maybe some problems at the very beginning of the game getting his damage off, but the longer the game went on, if they tried to commit onto him, it was coming at a hefty price in terms of their health bars, and the beneficiary often was Kespainify on the Chernobog, able to just clean up on the back end.
Yes, Kespainify played very well on that Chernobog, and like I was saying during picks and bans, a lot of this game for the Papis was going to go on how well Warchi played on that Discordia. Started the game 0-5 or 0-6, so not very good there. Did a lot of damage towards the end game and certainly got more comfortable, but that early laning phase he didn't seem particularly comfortable with. And so if I'm the Papis, I'm heavily prioritizing what Warchi wants to go for here in game 2.